Hey everyone, it's Professor Clark, and we are starting Chapter 9. We are making so much progress, we are almost through the book. And our first section of Chapter 9 will be on the verbs to eat and to drink, which are obviously very important, but they are also a little bit tricky, so we're going to devote a quick section to them. Let's start with the verb to eat, which is есть in Russian. And this is one of the 4 truly irregular verbs that Russian has. And you might be thinking, wait, I've already seen the word есть, as in у меня есть. Well, that's a different есть. It's actually 2 different verbs. It can mean there is or there are when it is the present tense of the verb to be. But есть, to eat, is a different verb, a completely different verb which has completely different forms and is used in a completely different way. So you have to guess from context whether the verb есть means to eat or there is or there are. So есть has these strange medieval forms in the non-past that have only been preserved in a couple of very bizarre but commonly used verbs. So the non-past of есть is я ем, ты ешь, она ест, мы едим, вы едите, and они едят. So this is completely anomalous and weird. There is no other verb that conjugates exactly like this. In the past, though, it's completely regular. It's он ел, она ела, оно ело, они ели. And note that it does not have a shifting stress in the past. That's unusual for monosyllabic verbs, but есть is one of those exceptions where it has a fixed stem stress in the past. When we use the verb есть, that should seem like it's pretty straightforward, but the important thing to know is that in Russian, we use the verb есть when we're talking about eating specific foods, like я ем яблоко, I'm eating an apple. Я ем хлеб, I'm eating bread. Or we can use it in the expression «я хочу есть» or «мне хочется есть», meaning I'm hungry. Literally, I want to eat, but that's how you say I'm hungry in Russian. «Я хочу есть» or «мне хочется есть». When you want to talk about eating specific meals, like breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you have to use the meal-specific verbs завтракать to eat breakfast, обедать to eat lunch, and ужинать to eat supper. And so there you have the verb есть. Now let's talk about the verb to drink, or пить. And пить is regular, but it is a type of verb we have not encountered before. So there are a few monosyllabic verbs with eat in them. So пить, to drink, бить, to hit or beat, and лить, to pour. But not жить, to live. Жить is in a different group, but this group is пить, бить, and лить. And these are first conjugation verbs. And in the non-past, you drop the eat, and then you add a мягкий знак to the initial consonant and then add stressed first conjugation endings. So пить becomes я пью, ты пьешь, он пьет, мы пьем, вы пьете, and они пьют. And note the мягкий знак after the pe in each form. And then in the past tense, it has a shifting stress, which is very common for monosyllabic verbs. So есть is the exception to that, but пить is very regular. Он пил, она пила, оно пило, они пили. And пить is used pretty much just like we would use drink in English. So you can use it to drink specific beverages, like я пью воду, I drink water, я пью чай, I drink tea, and so on and so forth. It can also be used to mean drinking alcohol, just like it can in English. So that is something to keep in mind because, of course, Russia has a very strong drinking culture, and there are many expressions with the verb pít in it or some form of that verb where they talk about drinking alcohol. But it can also be used for non-alcoholic beverages as well. So there you have the verbs to eat and to drink, есть and pить. And now you can go on and use them.